Well, hello there, welcome back to my channel. This is the Unintentional ASMR Book Club. Tonight's book will be Smoke and Mirrors, Short Fictions and Illusions. This is part 3. It's a continuation from the second reading. So let's begin. One night, Belinda woke in the small hours, and she stared at her sleeping husband in the sodium yellow illumination of the street lamp outside their bedroom window. His hairline was receding, and the hair at back was thinning. Belinda wondered what it would be like when she was actually married to a bald man. She decided it would be much the same as it always had been. Mostly happy, mostly good. She wondered what was happening to the them in the envelope. She could feel its presence, dry and brooding, in the corner of their bedroom, safely locked away from all harm. She felt suddenly sorry for the Belinda and Gordon trapped in the envelope on their piece of paper, hating each other and everything else. Gordon began to snore. She kissed him gently on the cheek and said, "Shh." He stirred and was quiet, but did not wake. She snuggled against him and soon fell back into sleep herself. After lunch the following day, while in conversation with an importer of Tuscan marble, Gordon looked very surprised and reached a hand up to his chest. He said, "I'm frightfully sorry about this." And then his knees gave way and he fell to the floor. They called an ambulance, but Gordon was dead when it arrived. He was 36 years old. At the inquest, the coroner announced that the autopsy showed Gordon's heart to have been congenitally weak. It could have gone at any time. For the first 3 days after his death, Belinda felt nothing, a profound and awful nothing. She comforted the children. She spoke to her friends and to Gordon's friends, and to her family and to Gordon's family, accepting their condolences gracefully and gently, as one accepts unasked for gifts. She would listen to people cry for Gordon, which she still had not done. She would say all the right things, and she would feel nothing at all. Melanie, who was 11, seemed to be taking it well. Kevin abandoned his books and computer games and sat in his bedroom staring out of the window, not wanting to talk. The day after the funeral, her parents went back to the countryside, taking both the children with them. Belinda refused to go. There was, she said, too much to do. On the 4th day after the funeral, she was making the double bed that she and Gordon had shared when she began to cry, and the sobs ripped through her in huge, ugly spasms of grief, and tears fell from her face onto the bedspread, and clear snot streaming from her nose, and she sat down on the floor suddenly, like a marionette whose strings had been cut, and she cried for the best part of an hour, for she knew that she would never see him again. She wiped her face, then she unlocked her jewelry drawer and took out the envelope and opened it. She pulled out the cream-colored sheet of paper and ran her eyes over the neatly typed words. The Belinda on the paper had crashed their car while drunk and was about to lose her driving license. She and Gordon had not spoken for days. He had lost his job almost 18 months earlier and now spent most of his days sitting around their house in Salford. Belinda's job brought in what money they had. Melanie was out of control. Belinda, cleaning Melanie's bedroom, had found a cache of 5 and 10-pound notes. Melanie had offered no explanation for how an 11-year-old girl had come by the money, had just retreated into her room and glared at them, tight-lipped, when quizzed. Neither Gordon nor Belinda had investigated further, scared of what they might have discovered. The house in Salford was dingy and damp, such that the plaster was coming away from the ceiling in huge, crumbling chunks, and all three of them had developed nasty bronchial coughs. Belinda felt sorry for them. She put the paper back in the envelope. She wondered what it would be like to hate Gordon, to have him hate her. She wondered what it would be like not to have Kevin in her life, not to see his drawings of airplanes, or hear his magnificently tuneless renditions of popular songs. She wondered where Melanie, the other Melanie, not her Melanie, but the there but for the grace of God Melanie, could have got that money, and was relieved that her own Melanie seemed to have few interests beyond ballet and Enid Blyton books. She missed Gordon so much it felt like something sharp being hammered into her chest, a spike, perhaps, or an icicle made of cold and loneliness, and the knowledge that she would never see him again in this world. Then she took the envelope downstairs to the lounge, where the coal fire was burning in the grate, because Gordon had loved open fires. He said that a fire gave a room life. She disliked coal fires, but she had lit it this evening out of routine and out of habit, because not lighting it would have meant admitting to herself on some absolute level that he was never coming home. Belinda stared into the fire for some time, thinking about what she had in her life and what she had given up, and whether it would be worse to love someone who was no longer there, or not to love someone who was. And then at the end, almost casually, she tossed the envelope onto the coals, and she watched it curl and blacken and catch, watched the yellow flames dancing amidst the blue. Soon the wedding present was nothing but black flakes of ash, which danced on the updrafts and were carried away like a child's letter to Santa Claus, up the chimney and off into the night. Belinda sat back in her chair and closed her eyes and waited for the scar to blossom on her cheek. And that was the end of that part of that book. I hope you enjoyed that reading, and if you do, give it a like and share it with someone you think would enjoy listening to this kind of story. Also, don't forget to subscribe. And if you like, you can support me by getting my book. I have a book out on Amazon. It's out in the description down below. So I hope you have a great weekend and a great evening as well to you. And that's it from me tonight. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.